All right, we are live again on Facebook. I'm John Mercer, president of Las Vegas Triathlon Club. We've got Bob Gamble, board
Hello,
member,
folks.
ambassador. Hi, Bob. How's it going?
I'm going great. Thank you.
Good. It's a Thursday night and time for another member spotlight. And this is going to be fun. We're going to talk with Leigh Eckley. And I am really excited to hear about her journey through biking and triathlon. And we were talking ahead of time. We share a little bit of academic background as well, as she has her Master's of Science in Exercise Physiology. Yeah, so that's great. So we've got another knowledgeable person on XPhys on here and someone to tap into for knowledge. That's great. Well, welcome, Leigh. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well and I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Well, I'm going to turn the mic over to Bob for the official introduction.
And there goes the focus again. Okay. Well, hey there, folks. This is Bob Campbell again. I'm having trouble with my camera focus. I don't know what's going on, but we're pleased to have Leigh Eckley with us tonight. And Leigh, I'm really excited to talk with Leigh because she started triathlons about the same time I did. And even though she's a whole lot younger than I am, she's developed, becoming, a triathlon. She joined the club in 2018, did her first triathlon in 2017. So she's very athletic with a background in dance and baton. And you got a scholarship, a full ride scholarship to Pitt University for basketball. I mean, it's
Wow.
not many people can say that. So you've got you've got a background in athletics, and you've been doing triathlon for about 4 years now.
That's
You
right.
take out the COVID.
Take out the COVID. Yeah, that year of hell for everybody.
And Leigh has done races, sprints, Olympics, raced half marathons, and getting into the triathlon thing now. So Leigh, welcome. Really glad to have you here tonight. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing really well. Excited to be here too.
So, so what is it that how coming out of COVID, how is that doing? Are you changing your workout routine? You starting to go to the gym back again, or did we actually do a yo-yo whiplash because now we got the Delta variant?
Yeah, with COVID, being able to stay home from work, being a full-time senior vice president for a healthcare company and traveling a bunch, it made my life a lot easier to focus on training and be able to get in probably the best shape of my life. Again. And so COVID really it impacted me in a positive way in that I was able to spend more time on my bike outside. I was able to spend more time running, which that's probably my least favorite part of this as I age. But yeah, COVID has actually helped me out from a work-life balance, actually, which not a lot of people can say that.
I know. I was just thinking that, that's really the opposite of a lot, the way a lot of people, especially with kids, you have kids, but they're older.
Yeah.
So it didn't affect you as much. The same with me. It's like, this was kind of like a almost a break. My long lunches where I hop on the trainer for an hour.
Yep. I still have to manage, obviously, my day with all my calls from East Coast to West Coast, and including Hawaii. But it's been a nice surprise for me to be able to actually spend more time, usually about 14 to 16 hours a week of training.
So does that mean you've got some high expectations for your races this year?
That part scares me a little bit because I don't know, I get this nervous competitive spirit about me, whether I'm going to do well or not. I don't want to do so poorly, but I end up trying my best and trying to suppress that. So the only race I signed up for was the aqua bike here, which we just had recently. And I really wanted to do at least an Olympic distance, a couple of those races this year, and I also in the fall. And I also wanted to at least get a 70.3 in under my belt. Every time I've been training and ready for that race, I've had an accident. So That's my goal. My next goal is a 70.3.
You know, you and I are like kindred spirits here, right? Because it's like the exact same thing. It's like, yeah, I got an Oli, I want to do, and I want to, I want to get that 70.3, and then bam, I blow a knee out or a shoulder. And I think John would back me up on this. Is that what he's given me some fantastic advice as far as go out and have a little bit more fun instead of being so pushing the competitive and treating the triathlon as an event I'm preparing for, so it's like, John, what would you say to that?
Well, I love hearing this story of getting that work-life balance. I think that's so
Mm,
important, and so that's really neat to hear, Lee, you going through that. And I think you're right. I think this period of time has allowed a lot of us to get that work-life balance. But I want to hear a little bit about the unbalanced part of how you got started in the sport. Wait a second, your background is dance and baton?
When I was 4, like, I don't know where he picked that one up and had to throw it out there, but yeah, so I've been competing since I was 4 years old and starting out in dance twirl and baton twirling. And yes, so I started out with that for the first 12 years of my life.
That is awesome. Well, dance is such it's a sport in amongst itself. I mean, it's so physically demanding. That's pretty neat. But how did you transition from that to basketball?
Yeah, so in college, in high school, I did every sport I could get my hands on, and tried to letter in every sport. And I accelerated in basketball, track, and volleyball, but it was in cross country. But I went to college on a basketball scholarship, and my first year playing, I was doing drills in the summer before we even began our season, and I broke both my wrists. And
What?
I found out what it was like to not play for college and decided that I was going to let that scholarship go. And I ended up playing intramural traveling team on volleyball instead.
Oh, wow.
The
Both are,
pressure as a college athlete is crazy.
yeah, yeah.
oh, there's no doubt. It's ultra competitive and ultra, rigorous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
So
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, getting into this sport after playing in college and running, I ended up being a runner and doing 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, all over, and just really enjoyed it until my knees started to really hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine owned a bike shop in Kingman, Arizona. And he said, a lot of people transition from bike or running to biking, and why don't you give it a try? Well, I haven't been on a bike since what? I couldn't even remember when. So
Oh,
that's
that's
why.
so neat. So yeah, I mean, what an athletic background. I mean that.
Mhm.
So what distance did you run in track?
So I did the 400 relay, and I was also a jumper, a triple jump and high jumper.
Well, you were, and then doing cross country. Oh my
Uh-huh.
goodness. So you are a well-rounded athlete. So
That's right.
now you discover the bike. So
Yes.
so you got what was your first bike that you got?
So I got a Trek Madone, first bike
Okay.
out of the
That's a
gate.
very nice first bike.
Oh.
It was a very nice first bike. Yes. I got that in late November of 2016, and didn't know even how to clip in. Got new shoes, got all the gear, and my buddy's like, "Come on, I'm gonna teach you how to ride this thing." And so that first 3 months, 4 months, I progressed, and that's
Sure.
launched in me into this career of biking. And he said, let's get you in a pool. So I got in a pool and I did okay because I swam as a second and third workout in college. So I figured I might as well try that. So I swam.
Oh,
He's like, you should be a triathlete.
oh, I love it. Oh, that's great. So so you started biking, that obviously 2016 was here in Las Vegas. So what kind of rides did you go on initially?
So every day was the River Mountain Loop.
Yeah. Okay.
Every day, the River Mountain Loop. Think about that.
Every day was the River Mountain Loop, at least a portion of it, if not the whole thing.
That's wonderful. Okay, so did you do any like bike events before you did triathlon, or did you do triathlon before?
So my first event was the Pumpkinman
Okay.
race, and I podiumed. I took first place in my age group. That I was like, wow, this is fun.
Which distance?
Sprint distance.
Yeah.
You podiumed your first race, and it was Pumpkinman. I'm sorry, that's a lot of people are going to hate you for that. That doesn't happen.
I didn't believe it either. I didn't even first time that they called my name, and I was like, wait, what?
So what did you think of that climb? Well, I mean, you had been doing the River Mountain Loop, so you've been used to climbing, huh?
Yeah, the climb wasn't that bad for me, because you're right. I would do that climb so much that it seemed short, because we did the climb all the way up to Boulder City and then out. But in the sprint distance, it didn't seem as bad, because we would do the climb up to Boulder City, come back down and do hill repeats on that climb up from, where you cross under the tunnel and climb up into Boulder City. We would do hill repeats on that. So I was like, man, this is easy. I could do sprint distance all day long.
and it helps that Trek Madone weighs about 15 pounds too.
Yeah, it was 12 pounds before I put the little bit of gear on it, and probably 14 pounds total. Yeah, it's a great bike.
It is.
So
I have one of those.
So your prep for Pumpkinman obviously was super strong for the bike. How did you, let's go back. It was just someone just sort of suggesting and encouraging you to sign up for a triathlon. That's what got you signing up for Pumpkinman?
Yeah, it was funny because a friend of mine, I have a group of friends from Venezuela, Denny Silva, and Adolfo Rodriguez. Before he moved, he was the friend that got me and suggested me to start trying out these things. And so I started training with Denny in June, and he's like, "We'll get you ready for Pumpkinman. You'll have no problem at all." So that was it. And then after that, I did the fast triathlon, that kids
in the swimming pool. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, in the swimming pool. And then I did San Dimas triathlon after that. And that was a rough one. That one was.
Which one? Say that again, please.
San Dimas Turkey. I think the Turkey Trot, I think it was called.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one. So one other thing, before you go on too much further, on your Pumpkinman, the first time you did that, what was it like coming off the bike and running? I mean, how did that surprise you, or you worked on that?
I worked on the transition quite a bit from biking to running, because as I told you, my knees were not happy for a while. And then I think with being able to really focus on balancing my muscles in my quads and my hamstrings more, and really, because I have a physical therapy background too, so it made sense for me to really focus on that, really try to rehab. And then running, the concept that I didn't really get at first was you have to run slow to run fast, and really being able to focus on my form and running slower at first made it so much easier to really transition into that run.
Now, John, do you have anything to say to that?
No, that's really a good way to approach it, and really good advice.
What I was looking for was Bob, are you listening to this?
No, well, yeah. Well, but you don't.
Run slow, train slow to go fast in the race. That's exactly right. It took, I have a thick head. It took me a while to figure that one out.
We'll get you there. We'll get you there. Okay, so I want to get back to Pumpkinman, because you did such a neat thing by surrounding yourself with people who are really successful in the sport from the beginning. Ivan and Denny, obviously, those two, superstars. That's fantastic. But now you prepped for Pumpkinman, strong on the bike. You did this prep on the run. What did you do for the swim to get ready for the open water?
Yeah, so the swim for me was relatively easy. We swam. Another thing I learned, you can't get in the pool once a week and expect to do any better. So swimming every day was necessary, whether it was in a pool or open water. I grew up in Pennsylvania where I open water swam all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
So I was never afraid of it. We went up to Lake Erie and swam in the lake all the time. So
Wow.
I really never afraid of open water swimming, and just had to work on my form to figure out how to swim better than when I swam in college.
Oh, that's fantastic. And yes, I have fond memories of being in Lake Erie too. That can be some cold water though. So,
It is, yes.
all right. So now you get to the start line on Pumpkinman. What's going through your mind? I mean, you clearly have a strong athletic background, and I can see you being a very confident person on the start line. But yet you're about to start something you've never done before.
I freaked out. I did. Like, I don't even know why I signed up for this, because I've never done this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I just really, I am going to fall apart.
Oh, wow. I love hearing that because, here you are with such a strong athletic background to all of a sudden have that anxiety. I think a lot of people can identify with that. It's really, it is, you just don't know what's going to happen.
No idea. You're absolutely right. It was very daunting because I was starting something that I'd never done. I mean, I practiced it. We would do brick training all the time, so I knew what to do. But then when you get out there and the nerves hit you, then you're thinking, oh, do I bring my helmet? Oh, where do I put my helmet? Where do I put my transition stuff?
Goggles.
Where's my bike when you come out of the water?
Dude, where's my bike?
Oh, that's great. Okay, so now the gun goes off and you're in the water. Now, how long did it take you to sort of settle into it?
I think the first 10 strokes. I just said,
Mhm.
just get 10 strokes in here, try not to get kicked. Yeah, take your time getting into that comfort zone, because initially when you just go balls out, sorry, this is bad to say that, but when you go balls out, when you get into the water, sometimes it takes your breath away. So you have to start where you're comfortable and then kick it in. That's what I did.
That's great. And that's great to hear that really once you get started, you're fine. But it
Yes.
is that anxiety right beforehand. I think that's really great to hear.
And it's good for for other people to hear that you, as athletic as you are, still have that anxiety. It's like it's just there. So just like it's just a friend. Just treat it like, yeah, you're here. I know you're here.
No.
Let's deal with it.
Does
So it's
it
great
ever
that
go
other
away?
people have heard that. What's that again?
Does it ever go away? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think it does. When I get on the start line, I still get, anxious. I want to get going. And, you as a competitor, I mean, you're just ready to get moving.
Yeah.
And so I think sort of the fun part because now, I mean, that's why you're doing it because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So then what happened when you get out of the swim? You're looking for the bike because obviously your bike is a real strong part of your triathlon.
So I ran past my bike
Oh.
and I had to tell me to go back. I got the brightest mat, the brightest towel, and not the brightest person in my brain at this point. So I'm kind of dizzy. I'm looking for my bike. I ran right past it. And I go back.
I don't know anybody who hasn't done that at least once.
Oh.
Looked around. Where's my bike?
You just validated me.
Oh, that's great. And yeah, we all make mistakes. That's wonderful. So then you get on the bike and just hammered the bike.
Hammered the bike, started passing all these people. I'm thinking, how am I passing all these people? I guess it was pretty easy. But I'm looking at that climb out on the wash on the way up.
Yeah.
It feels so slow and so long, at certain points. But as you're starting to pass people, you're getting more and more confident that, okay, it's not so bad. If you're passing people, you must be doing okay.
Yeah, that's good. So you get the swim behind you, you're passing people and you practice that hill. And so if someone's listening and doesn't know Pumpkinman is notoriously the hardest sprint because of that hill. At the end, it is pretty
Is
tough.
it like 1,800 feet of climb? It's insane for 12 miles,
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's 1,800, I think.
I should know it, but I don't know. Yeah,
I think the whole River Mountain Loop's what, 3,400?
yeah, it's right around there. Yeah. So now you get to the top of the hill into transition. Did you run by your T2 spot?
No, I went right to it.
Oh, good.
Went right to it. Though I was coached a little bit on changing my shoelaces so I didn't have to tie my shoes,
Mhm.
which was good because before that, which I just had gotten my shoelaces inserted before the race.
Mhm.
So I didn't know if they were going to be fitting me, excuse me, appropriately, but I got them in, started off running, and my legs, I didn't realize they were so heavy, and that transition to the run at that beginning was, oh my gosh, this is horrible.
Where'd my legs go, and who replaced them with lead?
Exactly. So that was their first feeling of, wow, I don't know if I'm going to make this run, because it is difficult to transition after that hill.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good.
How
But you
long
just
did it
kept
take you
at
to
it.
clear out?
Probably within the first half mile.
Mhm.
It's to me, I think a half mile seems long, but maybe it's not. But in my opinion, it felt like a long time to transition
Yeah,
and feel like my legs were okay. I still ran like an 8:40 pace. For
that's
me,
great.
that was pretty fast.
Mhm. Oh, that's
Yeah,
wonderful. And so again, you're just keep moving and you're getting the run done, and then you hit the finish line. So happy at the finish line?
Yeah, I was super happy at the finish line. And like I said, I was completely clueless because there's so many people out on that course. You don't know how you do. And I didn't know any better that I could go over to the tent and see what my race results were. And then I heard my name. I was like, what'd they just call my name for?
Oh, that's great. Well, it's your first race, and yeah, you want to know all those little things. That's pretty neat. So then you got up on the podium, and that had to be a really good feeling at that point.
It was. And I guess there was somebody else that had taken Pumpkinman before me a few races before that, and they were pretty upset that I beat them on my first try.
It's a race.
Exactly.
Well, that's neat. So yeah, the newcomer and right up on the podium. That's fantastic. Okay, so how soon after getting off that podium did you say, I'm going to sign up for another one?
Well, as soon as I got home, I saw that the fast try was, I just signed up for that one right away. And I think that one was what, November?
Yeah, yeah, that would have been
Yeah.
November. So
I'm pretty sure you would have won that one as well in your age group, did you?
I did. I took third. They didn't do age group. They just did overall. So I took third on that one.
oh, awesome.
And believe it or not, in the transition from the swim to the bike, I put my running shoes on. So I really screwed that one up.
Well,
And it obviously didn't hurt you too bad.
I lost a little time. The girl that got second beat me just by seconds. So that probably cost me second place.
oh no. Oh, that's a fun race with a pool swim and the running that all the paths back there. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. And then as soon as I podiumed on that one, I said, all right, what's my next race? And I saw that there was one in San Dimas, California. And that was 2 weeks later. So it was a little bit different than the sprint. It had a 4.2 mile run.
Yeah.
So that one was a little bit more hilly than I anticipated. And that was a little tough, but I took third in that race too.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you said that race you had some different challenges in that race. Is that right?
Yes, the water was so cold. I think it was in a reservoir that was 50 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
And when you get in the water, it took your breath away. Literally,
Yep.
it
Yep.
just sucks the life out of you for the
Yep.
first few
Was it a
strokes.
wetsuit race?
Yes, you think so?
I was going to say, but still, it takes your breath away when that water first hits that warm skin.
Yeah, it was hard.
And so with the cold water swim, that obviously set things off in the wrong direction in the beginning. But what happened on the rest of the race? Was it all smooth sailing at that point, or?
So much like when you're swimming in the lake here in the morning, that sun's in your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and is really tough when that cold water hit my goggles. They just got so foggy I couldn't see. And I tried to swim on my back a little bit to unfog them and adjust them and do whatever I could to make it through that swim.
Oh, wow, that's hard.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was really tough, but I made it. I didn't drown.
yeah. So how long was the bike segment then?
So the bike was a normal sprint distance.
Okay.
It was a couple of laps around the park that they had
Mhm.
there. And I actually raced on my time trial bike at that
Oh,
one. And
okay.
that my time trial bike I'd only had for, I think, maybe 3 months.
Okay.
And I decided that I was going to race on that one. So it was a little scary to transition from a road bike to a TT bike.
A little different. Yeah.
Especially when you're doing laps on a course where you have more turns.
Yes, in the turns, yeah. And
Mhm.
downhill to 90-degree right turn, it scared the crap out of me.
Oh,
Okay,
boy.
now speaking of that, I want to make sure we get to this before we run out of time, but it's real impressive that you had a pretty bad crash and then you got right back on the bike and you're still riding. So tell us about the crash.
So my first crash was on the River Mountain Loop. When I got my bike in October or November, something like that. I crashed in March and I had messed up my knee and ended up rehabbing. And then that's when I did Pumpkinman.
Mm.
Then the next year, after I ended up 2018, going into 2019, I was training for St. George 70.3 because that was the year I was going to do it. And I was on the, let's see, I was on the loop during spring break and a car ran me off the road and I went over the edge right as you're coming from Turtle Overlook
Yep.
and coming down that back end. I was going about 40 miles an hour when
Oh,
I went over the edge there, and I landed sitting on my butt after I did two full head over heels.
oh, wow.
And I broke my bike in half through the stem and landed on my butt and destroyed three let's see, 3 discs in my back were ruptured and 2 discs in my neck were ruptured. And I
Oh,
was in UMC
You're
for,
kidding.
no, I was in UMC for a week. And so that I thought was going to end my career because I couldn't walk. I ended up leaving the hospital in a wheelchair and a walker and rehabbed for 3 months. And believe it or not, I did the Desperado Duo, I think, or Parawan, and came in third place 3 months after I rehabbed. Yeah, and then
unbelievable.
it's
That is
crazy.
unbelievable. We should make a Leigh Eckley Badass Award. I
No,
mean,
I don't think so.
Well, okay, so what's interesting is one, you're in great shape when the accident happened, and so and you're an athlete. But tell us about the rehab of that. I mean, that had to be really a lot of work and a lot of, just consistent movement to get better.
especially
Yeah,
with
so
ruptured discs.
I did stem cells to rehab my ruptured discs, and they did fix the rupture. I still have bulging discs. That's never going to go away.
Mhm.
But a lot of physical therapy, a lot of stretching, yoga, yin classes to try to offset some of the, damage that I did. And
Mhm.
it really, that's what got me back into racing again. So
That is absolutely amazing. I mean,
yeah.
seriously, to recover from that.
Well, and then last September, I had another wreck coming down Blue Diamond. I was in tandem with my training partner, Johnny, and I hit a rock and I went over my handlebars and broke my second bike.
Oh, no.
And a lot of road rash and damage, but Tony Vu got me all fixed up. I broke my leg on that one. That wasn't fun.
Your dedication to the sport is really showing here. This is great. Not great. It's terrible they've had the accidents, but it's really amazing to see you come back from each one of these crashes.
When you're out there and you get a smile on your face because you're on your bike, there's nothing better, I think, than having that feeling of being able to, first of all, come back from such severe injuries and still enjoy it and not be afraid of it. I mean, there's still some fear, obviously, on downhill, or when the cars are too close and they're not giving you space on the road. But at the end of the day, if you're still having fun, why not?
I love it. I mean, that certainly does give you great perspective and really gives you that insight in terms of why you're doing this. But we're about out of time. I'm really interested in what advice you give to folks getting started, because you did 3 races in the span of probably what, 6 to 8 weeks, and you were able to have some success. And then you had these crashes and you had to come back, and now you're like you said in the beginning, you're in great shape now. I mean, what advice do you give to someone either getting into the sport or who's been doing it for a while to keep going like this?
Yeah, so I guess the best thing, or the best advice I would give anyone is not to just stick with swim, bike, run. You have to get strength training in there. You have to get some time for stretching. You have to get some time for recovery, because if you're not spending time recovering, you're just breaking your body down even more. And I'd say that was probably the best way to recover anyway, is just giving your time some rest.
That is great. And yes, you're spot on. You got to take that recovery just as serious as your training. Leigh, this has been great to talk with you. I'm so sorry about the crashes, but my goodness, I think it really does give you a fresh perspective on the sport and doing it. And it's so great to see you healthy and training and love your 2021 goals.
Thank you. And I love being part of the club, because those races that you put on are fantastic. They keep you motivated. Everybody is in this sport is so friendly and so supportive compared to running, or biking. The road bikers, they're awful. But us triathletes and this club is so amazing, and the people are amazing too.
Oh, well, thank you. And I agree. We really do have a great community, and everyone is out to race hard and have fun
and support each other. It doesn't matter. You're going to be supported, and you're part of that. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just remember your goggles next time.
There's that.
All right. Leigh, great talking with you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Have a good night. Night, everybody.